Hello, this is Jeremy83. This is another episode of Salvaging Sauber Career Mode. This time we're at the Singapore Grand Prix, and hopefully it'll be a good race. Singapore, I do quite like on this game. It's quite satisfying to drive when you get it right, but obviously getting it right is pretty difficult as it is a very narrow street circuit, and of course it is a night race. So coming into the track climatization test for the Singapore Grand Prix, getting the 50 resource points pretty easily, as it's very easy to get the gates right, as it's quite a narrow track, so you can hardly miss the gates really at most corners. But now onto the fuel economy. And we're in the green quite comfortably, not enough to get purple unfortunately, but yeah, a lot of gear shifts, and obviously that's bad for your fuel economy, unless you literally shift up early every single time, which I'm not that good at. So only green, 30 resource points for that one, and now onto tyre wear test, and yeah, easy purple really, like just don't turn in too harshly and you get it pretty easily. And hopefully we can push on, and that means that a one stop should be on. I think the strategy is pretty easy to do a one stop, so it won't give us much advantage over AI, but still one stop good. I think it'll be ultra soft, super soft in the race, and that is the strategy we're going to go for, I think. And the race strategy simulator test, whatever it is, yeah, pretty easy purple score there as well. A lot of resource points going my way after this, and onto the qualifying pace test, and about 9/10 up, close to a second up. That should give us the purple score, and coming around the final few corners. The Sauber still isn't brilliant to drive, but it's getting alright. I'm closing into the midfield at most races now, and hopefully we can push on to this race as well, and get a few points on the board if everything goes well. Now on to qualifying, and it was actually forecast to get a bit wet by the end of qualifying, but obviously Q1 is not quite wet yet, or it's just starting to spit, as the back end is becoming pretty difficult to control, as you can see there, and the track's becoming a little bit shiny, so I think it is just starting to spit with rain. And going down up towards the line, it's going to be a 42.6, and that leaves me in 4th place as it stands, but at the end of the session it actually leaves me in 11th, as I think the rain came down a bit harder, so quite a lot of the drivers got caught out. As you can see, Ricciardo, Alonso, Stroll, Verline, my teammate, and Stoffel Van Dorn out in Q1, so I'm in Q2 for I think one of the first few times of the season. I think I might be 3rd time into Q2 with the Sauber, so that's a good start. And now this is my Q2 lap at the end of it, and it is very wet by this point. There was just about time to do a lap at the start of the session, and it got drier again at the end, so very unpredictable conditions, and yeah, difficult to drive in. And that is a 47.8, which is about 5 seconds off my time from Q1. And then going on to start my next lap, this is my out lap, and unfortunately you can see in the top left the countdown has started, and I'm going to miss the time, so yeah, I'm not going to improve. I'm currently 9th, so where does it leave me by the end of the session? And it is going to be 15th, unfortunately. Everyone else improved, and yeah, that leaves me out in Q2, 15th place, absolutely miles off the pace because I did my lap when it was wet, unfortunately, and Sebastian Vettel setting the provisional whole time in Q2 there. And I'm in 15th with Palmer, Magnussen, Hulkenberg and Kvyat out in the session in Q2. But let's have a look at the rest of the grid. I'll leave Crofty to take you through it.
Take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Raikkonen, Max Verstappen and Perez, Ocon, Massa, Grosjean and Carlos Sainz, Kvyat, Hulkenberg, Jolyon Palmer and the Sauber, Ricciardo, Stroll, Pascal Wehrlein and Stoffel Van Dorn, Alonso and Kevin Magnussen rounds off the grid.
So as you can see, it is a one stop as I predicted, and yeah, I'm actually 14th on the grid because I think it was Magnussen after penalties. So yeah, we're up into 14th on the grid, so that's a good place. If I get a good start, we can push on, hopefully get a few points. I'm pitting around lap 13, the middle-ish of the race. So let's go on to 5 red lights now for the Singapore Grand Prix. It's a very long hold here, and it is lights out and away we go. Extremely long wait for the lights to go off there, but we're getting a decent start. Palmer's got a good start compared to Kvyat as well. We're going to try and go up the inside of the Renault of Palmer. Then here comes Stroll on the inside. He's absolutely dive bombed it down the inside, hits Hulkenberg a bit, and Palmer goes around the outside as well, so I'm down a position, unfortunately, but Stroll is going to hold that position. Side by side with Jolyon Palmer now, the man who got fired after this race in real life, after a few more races actually, who did score points in this race in real life, but now Ricciardo is up the inside. The Red Bull is out of position in qualifying. It's hit me a little bit. We've lost the back end massively as Ricciardo's tapped my right rear. And yeah, just about hold it though, and Ricciardo is still side by side, and obviously the Red Bull is much faster than the Sauber. Not really loads of point holding up. I'm going to do my best because obviously we might as well. It's all track position at this point, and Ricciardo goes around the outside, takes that position up into 15th. We're going to dive it like up the inside though. Can we hold this from Ricciardo up the inside of turn 6 or 7, I think this is, and Ricciardo holds it around the outside. Good move by the Australian, and he's up into 15th. We're down 2 positions off the start, which is disappointing because my starts this season have been historically pretty decent, and I've gained a few positions most of the time, but this time we're down 2 positions. And we're just ahead of my teammate Verline now. We also gained a few off the start, I think, and going down towards the the next corner, the Anderson Bridge, and we're going to dive it up the inside of Ricardo. That is a very late move, and we're just about trying to force him out, take the line completely. That was a little bit rude, how little space I left him, but now Verline's having a run at Ricardo as well, but up into 15th now. Onto the end of lap 1, onto lap 2 now, and Stroll is just ahead of me. Can we get a good run through turn 1, 2 and 3? We're going to dive at the inside of turn 3. That is an optimistic move, and we've just about got it looks like, unless Stroll's going to hold it around the outside, which he is not. So yeah, good move up into 14th place there in the Sauber. And my pace should be decent. Obviously, street tracks historically the AI aren't very good on, so it should be a good opportunity for me to try and capitalise and get a few points. But now diving up inside Palmer a few laps later on lap 4, and we're going to try and hold it around the outside. Julian Palmer is very close stuff with the Brit in the Renault, and we're trying to hold it around the outside. Palmer has just about held it up the inside though. We're trying to force him to take a shallow line into the next corner. We're going to dive it, are we? No, we think about it. But we do go for it up the inside, take the apex, and we just about get ahead of Julian Palmer. That was another optimistic move. And yeah, it's going pretty well up into 13th place, down to lap 5, and Palmer is right behind me once again. And I think it's also Stroll's behind him as well. Ricardo can't be too far away. He's obviously in the very quick Red Bull, but Palmer now is going to go on the outside, looks like, into turn 6, and we can dive at the inside, and hopefully we can hold the position side by side, forcing over the curve, retain that position for the time being, and that is very nice to see. And we're up into 13th still, and it won't be long until some of the AI start pitting as well, but now on to lap 8, and we are up into 6th place. A few cars have pitted now, and Carlos Sainz is in the car ahead of me in the Toro Rosso. And through the next section, can we get a good exit and entry into the next little straight? We've got a decent one, and Sainz is going defensive, it looks like, but no, he backs out and goes back to the normal racing line. We take the normal apex. Can we get a good move? And we're going to try go for a dive bomb into the next corner. That was a very optimistic move, and I think Sainz was dinked his front wing a little bit on the sidewall there, which was probably my fault, but I'm going to move on anyway. And take that position, very optimistic and a little bit aggressive. I wouldn't try it in a league race, let's put it that way. And up into that, into 4th place now. Bottas is right behind me on lap 9. He's pitted already. And we're going to try and, well, hold it off as much as we can. It's not really much point because he's not a championship rival at all, and he's not in the same race as me. He's going to easily drive past me down the straight. And my engine also, I didn't upgrade the engine for this race because we need to save some engine parts for the later races in like Mexico and Brazil, which are high power circuits. So yeah, I'm trying to save the engine here, and as you can see, it's already on its last legs really. I think the turbo was on about 90 by the end of the race. And now on to lap 11, a few laps later, Hamilton, who actually overtook Bottas in the pits, is now out of the race. He's got an engine failure off to the left hand side there, yellow flag. And that means that I'm back up into the podium positions, but obviously it's not a genuine place at the minute. Well, technically it is because we will have one more stop to do, but I'm pretty sure the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, or Verstappen at least, will come back past me at some point in the race. But now through the final sector, Kvyat's also pitted. He was in the lead, which is absolute scenes really. And now through the last few corners, Vettel is right behind me along with his teammate Raikkonen is in 5th place, but we're going to take 2nd at the minute. So P2 at the minute in the Sauber, like I didn't expect that at the start of the race, and now Vettel is right behind me in the first sector now onto lap 12, and I will be pitting pretty soon. I think it was lap 13 or 14 is the optimal lap to pit on, and Vettel is going to go for a move now into the inside of turn 4. He's going to make it stick, it looks like, up the inside. I do try and hold it around the outside, but then we go wide onto the curb. Vettel got the much better exit with the traction of the Ferrari, and he's easily taken that position, and now he weaves quite weirdly to the outside. Raikkonen also hits me on the left side pods, that's strange. Bit aggressive driving from the two Ferraris here, and we try and hold it right outside Raikkonen. Can we do that? He forced me over the track a little bit. Can we go try and dive it back on the inside of turn 7 though? And Raikkonen has to leave the space, and we've just about held it, if I can get my words out. And now Raikkonen does have the inside line again though, and forces us out and takes that position with pretty much easily. And yeah, down to 4th now at lap 12, the end of the same lap, and Verstappen is going to try to overtake me into turn 1, looks like. And actually I go defensive. Verstappen switches to the outside, and it's going to be, I'm going to have to brake early because off the racing line, Verstappen goes right around the outside and just about holds it, looks like, on the inside. I try and force it out, but yeah, Verstappen with a much more grippier set of tyres and a grippier car. It is a much better car, the Red Bull, compared to the Sauber, quite clearly, and he takes that 4th place position. And now onto the end of lap 13. And Sergio Perez is right behind me, but we are going to be pitting this lap, I believe, and a little bit oversteer, showing that the rear tyres are not in the best condition, and Perez is going to move up into 5th place, so he's on for a good result at the minute, Perez, and that'll be a good job for him, as a few of the front runners, or Hamilton has retired from the race, and Ricciardo's right at the back, who might have actually retired already. I think there's 2 cars not in the race, so that would make sense, but yeah, so there's a good opportunity for a good result for one of the midfield teams and like a good chance for me as well, because what would have been a 11th or 12th maybe is now got a chance to be a 9th or 10th. So can we try and capitalise pitting onto the super soft, 2.7 second pit stop. We're down to 14th. Sainz has overtaken me, but all these drivers who are ultra softs, like Sainz, Van Dorn, I think Stroll was as well, they're all going to have to pit again. So, and the pit lane's very long here, and Magnussen actually goes around the outside as well. He isn't pitting again, I don't think. unless I'm mistaken. I'm not sure, but yeah, Furline's right behind me now, and now Magnus has overtaken Van Dorn. I'm going to try and overtake Van Dorn as well, and we try and get a good one. Can we do what we did to Science earlier in the race? Yes, we try it, and we just about do it much cleaner that time, no forcing anyone into walls. So that was a much better move. We executed it to perfection that time, if I do say so myself, and we're up into 14th place. Van Dorn, the McLaren around this track, apparently isn't as good as the Sauber somehow, or maybe it's just I'm good at this track and AI aren't, which is probably the more likely option. But now you can see on lap 20, a few lap drivers are in the pits, Massa and Palmer. So up into 9th in the points, and this is all net positions now because I'm going to the end. So if we can just defend, and now we're into 6th, look at that. Ocon's right behind me on lap 22, but if we hold on to this 6th place, then it is a genuine position, but Ocon's got a much better run. He obviously has the Mercedes engine in that Force India. We're going to try and dive out at the inside of turn 1. Can we make this stick? It's going to be very close stuff with Esteban Ocon, the Frenchman, and we're just out of the inside, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but no harm done, and we try and hold it and get a good exit, but Ocon in the Force India with the better traction has got it down the inside into turn 5 or 4, I don't know, and we've hit him quite harshly there, and yeah, that wasn't brilliant, and now Massa is going to have a chance as well. I'll try and go defensive on him, but he's just about got the better straight line speed, as I lost a lot of momentum accidentally hitting Esteban Ocon, but I didn't get any damage, which is pretty lucky, and now Grosjean is right behind me as well. We're just falling like a stone at the minute, and yeah, Grosjean in the Haas car, which I think pitted a few laps after me, is now going to try and overtake me as well. And is he going to try and turn 1? It's a little bit far back, I think, and he actually does go for his turn 1. He's got a very good overspeed, and we're going to try to hold it around the outside. Grosjean's locked up, he's forced me wide, and yeah, Grosjean, the Haas obviously famed for not being good on its brakes, and Grosjean shows that there. We're locking up, but luckily we managed to hold it around the outside and take back that 7th place. And as like you just saw down the straight there, the amount of overspeed Grosjean had, that's because my engine is struggling at this point. And now, yeah, down this straight as well, Grosjean's going to absolutely fly past, it looks like. Can we try and hold it? He just takes the inside for turn 5. We've got the inside for turn 6 now. Can we dive bomb him? And yes, we do. That was extremely aggressive. We slightly run wide, but Grosjean ran wide as well, so I'm under no obligation to hand that back, in my opinion, which is probably not the opinion of anyone who knows how to race cleanly, but still. We're up into 7th place again, but now Grosjean is still right behind me, and he's going to try and overtake me once again. He's going switching to the inside of the outside. He's just trying to make his mind up. Kvyat's coming out of nowhere, torpedoing his way into 7th on the ultra softs, and Grosjean has tried to go up the inside, but we hold it on the outside. Grosjean, Kvyat absolutely out of nowhere just overtook both of us there, and he's already going on into the distance in the Toro Rosso. So that's very good stuff from Kvyat there. He obviously was leading the race earlier, and he's putting on a good show, it looks like. For obviously this race in real life was the race where he got demoted in from the Toro Rosso, but now Grosjean's going to try and overtake me once again, lap 26, and he's just about got it, but can we dive it up the inside? Yes, we do, and he has to leave space. That was a little bit cleaner of a move, but Grosjean's still up the inside into the next corner, and we try to hold it on the outside. A lot of contact there. My hand gets up in frustration, but Grosjean just about to yield now, and he's really struggling to get past me for some reason. Like Kvyat and Ocon have done it with pretty much, they've done it with ease. Now Grosjean's really struggling. He's going to do the inside of the next corner. We just about hold it on the outside, pinch him on the apex, and we defend for him through my favourite corner to overtake on, it seems, this race. As now through the next lap, Grosjean's having to defend from Hulkenberg. He's got the good overspeed, and Grosjean's locked up once again. His front left's locked up. They've made contact, and Grosjean's spun and lost his front wing, so that is him out of the question, really. And now onto lap 29, you can see my engine is bright red with how much it's screaming to be put out of its misery, and it probably might fail on me at this point as it's very well worn. But now Hulkenberg has got the DRS on me and a much better exit and a better straight line speed in that Renault. He's going to switch to the outside, and that is a quite straightforward move. There's a yellow flag. Who is that off the track? I don't know, but that means that unfortunately I got legal overtake on Hulkenberg, as I did try and dive it back at the inside, but there's a yellow flag. I think it might have been one of the front runners, so up into 7th or 8th now. We're still side by side with Hulkenberg. He's come across me quite a lot there. Can we hold it around the outside like I did try to do Raikkonen earlier? But no, Hulkenberg blocks me quite well. Good defensive driving there from the German. And now Palmer's trying to go to the inside and squeezing him, but then switching back to the outside quite late and go around the outside there, hold that position, and through the next section it should be quite easy to defend on the AI, as they're not going to go for any moves there. But now on the next lap, that 30 out of 31, it's the penultimate lap, and can we defend from Jolyon Palmer? And I believe it's, I don't quite know who it is, I think Carlos Sainz might be in this trade behind me, but Palmer's going to switch to the outside, and he's going to make that move. Yes, it is Carlos Sainz, but he just about make contact. Sainz actually pushes me, which gives me better top speed, so cheers Carlos, thanks for that one. And that allows us to stay ahead of Palmer, so Carlos Sainz really doing us a favour there to let us stay ahead of the man he replaced at Renault. And yeah, that is a pretty decent stuff. And now it's still in 8th place, and Jolyon Palmer is right behind me. He's got a much better exit now, and switching on to the external cameras. Palmer's going to try to do the inside once again. I squeeze him before switching back to the outside, pinch him on the apex, and hold that position around the outside. and still in 7th place. I think on the external cameras you can just see my my engine is like starting to smoke a little bit, which is not good, as that could mean a failure pretty soon. But now Palmer's got a much bigger overspeed than me, and he's going to try and switch to the inside as if for turn 1. Yes, he is, and we're just trying to brake as late as we can, force a bit over the curves on the apex, and stay in 8th place. There's a few points up for grabs here, but you can just see in my mirror the train of cars. And on the minimap, there's about 4 cars right behind me, all trying to overtake me, which is not good. And to the next quarter, Palmer, Bottas has won the race already, so this is how far behind we are. But Palmer's got a good run here, and we're switching on to the external cameras once again. Palmer, which way he's going to go? He's going to go to the outside. I'm trying to force him to the inside, and here comes Sainz down the outside as well. It's 3 wide on the final lap, and Sainz and Palmer going wheel to wheel, and Palmer locked up actually 4 Sainz over the curb, and that slowed them both down. So it's given me a little bit of breathing space, which means that we're going to come through the final sector with my engine smoking all day long, and we're going to hold on for this 8th place in the Singapore Grand Prix, 4 points in the bag. And I will take that. Just about managed to hold off from the much faster cars behind me, and we get a few more points for the kitty and Sauber. And yeah, Palmer then overtakes me on the in laps, just showing that he didn't really enjoy being held up by me that much. But once again, Bottas wins from Kimi Räikkönen. 2 Finns are unbelievable in this series. I don't know what it is. I think Hamilton and Vettel were both ahead of them until they both retired from this race. So a little bit of bad luck there. Verstappen finished off the podium. He actually managed to finish a race, which is surprising. And yeah, the 2 Finns have run away with the championship already. I don't think it's possible for Hamilton or Vettel to win it. And that's completely the opposite of what we saw in real life. After most of the season, Räikkönen and Bottas have been average, and the 2 teammates have been doing better. But Bottas wins, Räikkönen 2nd, Verstappen in 3rd place with a minute back to Ocon in 4th, with Massa, Kvyat, Hulkenberg, myself in 8th, Palmer 9th, scoring a few points, Sainz in 10th, and there's the rest of the drivers who have missed out. And Ricciardo, Hamilton, Perez and Vettel were all on for good results. Well, not so much Ricciardo, but the other 3 were on for good results, and got unlucky with the DNFs. I think they all had engine failures, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, Grosjean with that front wing damage ended up 16th place, and my teammate Verline in 15th. So not the worst from him, but onto standings. And Raikkonen, you can see 21-point lead from Bottas. I'm in 12th place, so we're taking quite a few cars with that good haul of points. We're up to 19 now for the season, which I'm pretty happy with. If you told me that at the start of the season, I've probably taken it. And Pascal Wehrlein still hasn't scored neither of the McLaren cars, and constructors will still be in 9th place ahead of McLaren because they haven't scored any points yet. But coming to the resource points gained, then it's looking pretty good. We've got just up to 1,000, and that should be enough to get an upgrade, but I don't quite know what I'm going to go for yet. And onto the more resource points here for being first driver, which is helpful. Grosjean is my rival, so I did beat him in that race, which is pretty good. Everyone's starting to like me again after, for some reason, they all reset to 0 at one point in the season. But we're going to look at the upgrades now. I think it's going to be a aerodynamic, or maybe the chassis upgrade, I can't remember. But that is going to be the end of this video. If you did enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. This has been Joe83, and I will see you next time.